Greetings, dear ones. I am Sonia, the host of the Treasures You podcast, and I hope that you are having a wonderful day. Let us aspire to be the greatest forms of physical expressions by allowing our presence to navigate our current destination by the highways of our minds, the roads of infinite potential, and within the inner sanctum of our hearts, knowing that the treasure is you. Hello, dear ones. As you can see, I have a lovely guest on the Treasures You podcast, and I first would like to give a brief description of her. She is a celebrity trainer, an intuitive coach, a spiritual advisor, health and wellness expert, and she is a top-rated podcast host. She is an author, speaker, and a beacon of light. She is also an intuitive empath, and she has dedicated her life to helping highly sensitive people and empaths to navigate the complexities of their unique gifts, transforming sensitivity into a strength. She is a survivor of toxic family members. She is also a survivor of a traumatic car accident. She faced adversity from an early age. These challenging experiences ignited a profound journey of self-discovery, healing, and empowering transformation. So I welcome you, Jennifer Pilates, to the Treasures You podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Sonia. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, I am happy as well. Let me just first ask you, because you are helping a lot of empaths, and I'm an empath, and let me tell you, I needed you years ago because I really did not know I was an empath. I didn't know the word for it. I would walk in a room and yes, I would feel all people's energy, and I just thought that was a normal thing, which I believe it is a normal thing if your heart is open, right? I think we all come in with our hearts open. We just don't know that we're empaths. We don't know the name.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you find out you were an empath?
So similar to you, it wasn't until much, much later in life. I've been an empath since early childhood. And it wasn't until, probably about 10 years ago that I was living out in Scottsdale, Arizona. I was with a lot of spiritual people and psychics and mediums and all of this. And, I'm the one that's feeling everything to the core of my being. And no one else is feeling a thing. And I'm feeling solar flares and I'm feeling, the squirrel that's heard and you name it, I feel it. And someone said, well, that's because you're the empath in the group. You're the master empath. You're feeling everything. And I'm like, what? Now, meanwhile, I have always been that way, even through my wellness studios. I would have a client come in pain. They would leave feeling great, but I would feel their pain. Mm-hmm. And so I stumbled in those early years with spirituality. It's so funny because I look back and I go, I think I was so much more spiritual then than sometimes I am now. Right. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I was stumbling through it because, like you said, there was no one. There were no books at that point in time. There was no one to say, like, are you experiencing A, B, C, D, E, or there's 30 different things we could experience. And so in going through all of this, I really was like, what can I bring to the world? How can I help people? And it's like, well, there's so many people that don't know what an empath is. They don't know that there's a name to all this anxiety that they're feeling, or maybe it's even the depression that they're feeling, and it's not really theirs. And one of my biggest wake ups is that I've always been a ridiculously anxious flyer. I mean, to the point that like I was taking Dramamine, Xanax, you name it, to get on a flight and still freaking out. And after I learned about being an empath and began employing certain practices and understanding boundaries, that's the number one thing every empath and highly sensitive person should understand, is setting a boundary is healthy.
Yes.
And anyone that chooses to poke at your boundary, well, they're probably not healthy for you because they're trying to push that boundary for whatever reason.
Right.
And I
Right.
realized that when I got on a plane, I wasn't half as anxious as I used to be. What I could discern when my anxiety rose was that I was feeling what was around me. And so it was
Mhm.
about tuning in and again, like setting up that healthy boundary and sending out love and calmness to all those around me. Not, some people freak out and want to protect themselves, but I always say you don't have to be a sponge. You don't have to absorb everything. You
Right.
can actually, instead of being an absorber, you can be a transmuter. And
Yes.
so whatever you're feeling, it's about sending out the reverse if you're not enjoying what you're feeling. And so it's so important. There's so many tricks and tips and secrets to being an empath that no one knows. And now there are books out there, but I feel that they never tell you everything, right?
Right.
Like they never get to the nook and cranny of it. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's why I'm here. I want to help so many people not to have to stumble through all of the stuff that I stumbled through.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Would you also, I know you have a lot of clients that have stumbled upon like depression, stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I find out that a lot of people who are depressed are empaths because they
Mhm.
don't know what's happening. Like when they go
Mhm.
through major breakups in relationships, I have some family members that are major like empaths, but they don't know it because they don't know the name. They don't know what's going on with them. And, it could be
Right.
scary and it could be, you think like you're going crazy because you don't have your emotions and all
Mhm.
these sensitivities that you have. You're feeling them and you don't know like what's happening.
Right.
Right.
Right. It's so scary. And when you look at and those are and these are our people that are our friends, that are our neighbors, that are our families, that aren't talked about. Whereas you can look at high profile people who are deemed ADHD
Right.
or crazy. Literally, they're calling people crazy, they're depressed, they're anxious. And I will say 80% of these people are all highly sensitive people and or empaths
Mm-hmm.
that are not necessarily aware. They're going through some sort of potential spiritual awakening, call it what you will, an aha moment,
Right.
whatever you're comfortable with. And they're unsure. And the people that they're seeking out, which is not, to their detriment, it's all they know, they don't understand. And they're not willing to look at the deep, what is it, the root, what is it, the core of the
Right.
anxiety, of the depression, of whatever it is, the pain, the ailment. They want to put a band-aid and feel better. And
Right.
so that's where people begin to realize, like, where are they on their path? And if they're still just, they're wanting a band-aid and they just don't want to feel this, and that's okay. That's where you're at on your journey. They're in one spot. And for those others who are like, I don't want a pill or I don't want a band, I really want to know the why to get to that root
Right.
core, then you're ready. You're ready to be on that journey, and you are on that journey moving forward. And it's important to honor where those people are too. It doesn't mean all of a sudden everyone's going to wake up an empath and surrounded by selenite and amethyst and burning sage. That's really not what it's all about. It's really understanding your superpower
Right.
and how empowering I know this is going to might trigger a couple of people, but how empowering your anxiety, your, whether you want to label it depression or your funk, I think that's a better word sometimes, just your funk,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that, how empowering that can be when you get to the root cause and find out what that is and release it.
Yeah. That's, like you just said, if people, if they're ready on that journey to accept and try to figure out what the root cause is, then, they would make some progress on their journey. But like you said, if you're not ready to go there, then they're going to continue to
Right.
repeat the same things and have the
Hmm.
same emotions and, outbursts and all that stuff.
Right.
So that's just a part of the world, like you said, and it just depends on the person if they're
Mhm.
ready.
Right.
Yeah, so wow, that's it's just great to talk to another person that is an empath that understands because sometimes, you can feel like, okay, like you're by yourself and you feel like sometimes, okay, am I going crazy, But
Oh, for
once
sure.
once you figure out what it is and you set your boundaries,
Mhm.
it's amazing. It really is.
It
It's
is.
like a
It is.
different world.
It's true, and it literally is a different world. It's literally like a different timeline because you're tuning into yourself and you're tuning
Yes.
out what is around you.
Yes.
That circus that's around us, and when you can
Yes.
do that, when you can, and I'm not saying like tune out and pretend like nothing's going on. I think it's very important, and I always say like I will, tip my toe in the water and see what's going on in the regular world, in the 3D world, and then I'm like peace out and I'm going back to my world. But it is like you want, and then there are some people who don't want to know anything, and I have friends that say that just an ostrich, they don't want to know anything. And that's
Mm,
okay too. Everybody
yes.
deals with things differently, being
Yeah.
an empath or a highly sensitive person. And, I just, it's so important to have grace with yourself,
Yes.
especially on this journey, because it's not an easy one. And I wish I could tell everyone one day you're going to wake up and it's going to be magical with unicorns and lollipops and leprechauns. And the truth is that you have to look for those moments along the way because this
Mhm.
is a healing journey, and your journey is not complete until you choose to transition and go elsewhere,
Yes. That's right.
wherever you believe that is, whether that's heaven or another universe or another planet. This is our journey, and every day is healing. And
Every
that's a beautiful thing. Some days easier than others.
Right, right. Yes. Okay, so now I'm gonna just tap into the toxic family. Yeah, I can relate to that as well. So
Mhm.
anything you wanna share about, because we know that there are people out there that are in toxic family settings and they don't know what to do, they don't know what's going on, and then they, become a way that is not going to help them or the family. Or any suggestion or anything you want to share that was toxic in your family that helped you to see and get out and just to understand.
Right. Well, I would say first, 9 times out of 10, you probably are an empath if you're in that toxic family situation, and that's part of your journey. It doesn't make it any better. It doesn't make it right. It's about empowering yourself and educating yourself,
Yeah.
because being that empath, you are attracted to narcissists, and narcissists are attracted to you. And you, again, that goes back to learning self healing and being able to do the work on yourself so that you can even recognize those traits and habits of things that are going, that are circling around you, whether that is your immediate family, whether that is step family, whether that is cousins, aunt, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
Um, and setting the healthy boundaries and being okay with wherever you're at with
Right.
that. I mean, it took me decades to finally not be in the toxic family anymore.
Right.
And it was not easy. And what's very difficult about something like that is people, particularly your toxic family, will look at you as how dare you, you are
Right.
selfish. You
Mhm.
become, as you've always been, the scapegoat. Everything was always your fault. Well, it's always going to continue to be your fault. I'm just going to be honest. It just is. And I have tried everything, and 9 times out of 10, it's not just one family member. It's and if it is one, I will say this, you're blessed. I it was just the whole all I can say is the whole family. It's just easier to
Yeah.
say it that way.
Yeah.
And so no matter where I turned, I was always a scapegoat for this one or that one or whatever it is, and I was always wrong. I was always the crazy one. Why wasn't I conforming? Um, everything was just my fault. People were conspiring against me. I mean, it's just and it's so sad because here you are, a child coming into this world, and your safe place should be your family. Your safe place should be your community within your family. That should be your foundation. And when that isn't, that's also when your empathic abilities kick in, because you are now scanning a room to say, am I safe in this room? Am I safe with these people? Okay, I need to make this one happy. I need to be quiet because I'm in this room with this person. And when you are living that way, especially, and 9 times out of 10, most of us, it's all from childhood, that means you've lived your whole life in fight or flight, which means you have numbed out of your body. 9 times out of 10, you are not living in your body.
Right.
And so it's a lot of healing, and it's a lot of trials and tribulations. I didn't one day wake up and go, that's it, I'm done.
Mhm.
There were different times over the decades where I wasn't in contact with this person or I wasn't in contact with that person. And then you would be, and it would always be worse. It would always be, the shoe was always going to drop. And when it did, it always dropped like 100 times worse than it ever did before.
Right.
And you will get to that place where you will eventually choose you. You will love you. You will choose you. And it becomes that point where you have to love yourself enough to say enough.
Right.
And it takes a long time to get there. In this society, it's okay to go no contact with a boyfriend, to go no contact with a work, whatever that may be. But when it comes to your family, because of that label, suddenly it doesn't matter. It's a free for all. They can do anything that they want. And that is what needs to change. It's not okay. They know better. They're adults. You're supposed to be the child, not the parent. And I
Right.
say that because many of you listening will go, oh, yeah, I've always parented my parents, or I've always, I was the good child. Everyone knew me. I was quiet. I never talked. You took care of everybody. You monitored everyone's feelings except for your own.
Mhm.
And then probably later in life, you chose different ways to numb out. It could be food, it could be alcohol, it could be drugs, whatever it is.
Right.
And that's when, you begin to figure things out. And, it took a very long time. I think professional help is incredibly important. It's something that literally saved me this past year, this past fall, actually, um, to have the right person. And I say that because I've had professional help throughout my life,
Right.
but they weren't experienced in the emotional abusive family settings, in the toxicity of a family setting. And when you're able to find someone who has walked that walk and who can literally look at you and be like, no, that's abuse. Plain and simple, no. And really sit with that. I mean, it takes a lot. It has not been easy. It's never easy.
No.
Um, you just get to a place where you have to choose yourself. It's self-preservation. And
Right.
that's finally where I came to, which was very difficult because I was always the one caring. I was always the one parenting. And it didn't matter if that was my mother, my father, my stepmother, my
Mhm.
stepfather, my cousins, my whomever.
Mhm.
Um, and so it's challenging. And so I would say definitely professional help, and find someone who specializes in that. And that will be the game changer for you. And then really have grace with yourself and be okay with yourself. Journal, write
Mhm.
as much as you can, because you need to get this out. And you need to not keep it in your head and ruminate over it, and replay everything, because the truth is it's the same story. It's a different word, it's a different slap, it's a different whatever it is.
Right.
You're still the scapegoat. It doesn't matter. You're
Right.
that's who you are. And when you can learn how to be that scapegoat with a capital GOAT, and find
Mhm.
the empowerment in that, that's when all of your relationships in the world change. Because truly, when you have been in that situation, until you heal, and in my personal experience, I'll speak from, any romantic relationship that you have is going to be a hot mess, because you're still carrying this baggage, whether you recognize
Right.
it or not. Even in the workplace, even with friends,
Yeah.
it's a pattern This is what you've been used to. This is all you know. So this
Right.
is where you've been comfortable. Just like those people who've been the abusers, that's all they know.
Right.
They should know better, but they've chosen not to do the work for whatever it is, whether they're incapable or they're just choosing not to. And that's on
Right.
them. The choice is for you to be better, do better
Right.
for yourself, and have that self preservation. And for some, that's a low contact. For some, it gets to that point of no contact. And you just have to have grace and be kind and do what feels right in the moment for yourself.
Right, right. Yes. Oh, yeah. You said a lot there. And what I just pointed, or what I just keyed on to you saying, was choice. Like they had a choice to be this way, and just like we have a choice as well to stay in a situation or experience that may be toxic, or we have a
Mhm,
choice to leave. So like
mhm,
you said, are you going to choose yourself first? Because that's what happens. I know I realized in my life I was not choosing myself first, and because of that, and me not knowing I was an empath, every experience would be at an expense of my happiness, of me, like, not knowing who I am, because I'm trying to live up to you, a family member. I'm trying to
mhm,
make you feel better. But what about me? So
mhm,
then we suffer because we don't put ourselves first. And then, like I said, if you don't know that you're an empath, you don't even know that you don't know that you have this sensitivity. I know that about a lot of people in the world.
mhm,
I see it, and I know you see it too. A lot of mental illness and a lot of stuff going on, addiction, because I went through some addiction as well. And yeah, it's like you try to fit in to certain people's expectations, and then you fall short because you did not put yourself first. So I'm
mhm.
glad you said that about choice. We have the choice to make these decisions for ourselves. So would you say also, for people that don't even know that they're an empath, can you tell them or give them like maybe one or two examples or steps or something that they can do, like to help them just for themselves, like before they go to a professional? Like
Mhm,
I would say sit alone, go out to a park and sit on a bench and try to sit out in nature, because nature heals us. Oh,
mhm.
let me tell you, I sat out in nature for over 20 something years, and I know a lot from sitting out on a park bench because nature taught me a lot. But is there anything else that you can, like some simple little steps
Mhm.
that a person can do, add to their life, so they won't feel anxious, so they won't feel angry because they're trying to fit in because of a family member or a friend or whoever it is,
Mhm.
because they're not putting themselves first?
Right. Well, I would say the first thing, right? So if anybody's listening to this and you're resonating with the conversation and you're still struggling with, I don't know if I'm an empath, I don't know if I'm a highly sensitive person. Well, the first thing is we want to figure it out. Are you? And so that you can Google, I have blogs on my website that you can go over, and the title is literally, Am I an Empath? And you can go through, and if you can answer yes to a few of the questions, you're going to know, and in that point, I want you to be excited.
Right,
Most empaths in the first stage, we used to call it, is it the blessing of the curse?
right.
And, you'll get to the point where you'll be like, no, this is my superpower. I can call bullshit on anyone. I've been able to do it
Yes,
since I was a child. The
yes.
difference, right, is when you are around toxic people or toxic family members, because they are gaslighting you. They are making you out to suddenly think that you're crazy when you intuitively already know that they're sitting, that they're sitting there bullshitting you. And I think that that's one thing that even to this day, it cracks me up. Like I'll sit there and I'm always been an observer first.
Me too.
And I
Me
love
too.
to watch people and I love to just let them speak. And then I'm laughing inside my head going, especially to people who know that I'm an intuitive empath, that are bullshitting me, that are like fibbing to me. And I'm like, that just cracks me up. Like for those people that know.
Yeah.
And I want you to have fun with it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, sitting in nature, I mean, that's been my go-to. For me, empaths, it's about water.
Mm-hmm.
So, even a simple tip is that if you're feeling suddenly anxious, you just feel off in a room, in the office, whatever, with your family, get up, go to the bathroom or the kitchen sink and begin washing your hands. That is a cleansing. That's an energetic cleanse. You have so many chakras in chakra energy coming, scalar light energy coming through your hands as well as through your body. But that's a cleansing. So now you're releasing your energy. If while you're doing that, you begin to feel better, and then you re-enter the room, re-enter a conversation, and you feel that energy again, that's someone else's energy that is coming onto you. And that's when you know, okay, I need to learn how to set healthy boundaries.
Right.
How do I do that as an empath? And you begin, I have plenty of blogs on that as well, how you can do that, easy steps to learn how powerful you really are. But
Wow.
cleansing in nature, for me, first thing in the morning, nature walk is important. Last thing in the day, not the very last, but that's super important. It's a cleansing. It's
Yeah.
literally a cleansing of your chakras, of your aura to
Yes.
release the day. I would say something that is, especially in the early stages of knowing you're an empath, and some people are going to think this is crazy, just they're not going to get it, but taking a shower before you go to bed at night. When you come home from work, take all your clothes off, put on a different set of clothes. And then before you go to bed, take a shower. Because one, when you come home and you take off those work clothes, you're in essence taking off the energies of the day.
Yeah.
Now, if you still feel like crap, get in the shower immediately. But if not, put on your loungewear, put on your workout clothes, whatever it is, but
Yeah.
take the shower before bedtime. And reason being is you do not want to take everyone that you met that day and every energy that you interacted with to bed with you. You
Exactly.
want to go to bed cleansed and cleared with your own energy.
Yes.
That is super important.
Yeah.
So, and I know some people, so like, I can remember the first half of my life, maybe you'd like wear the same clothes or the same workout. No, I don't do any of that anymore because I don't want to carry the energies from one day into another, regardless.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Changing your sheets at least twice a week is important. These are basic things that you can do that will be very impactful on
Right.
your mental and emotional stability.
Right.
Drinking water with lemon or cucumbers in it to help cleanse your body, help the energy move through. If you're feeling anxious and irritable, literally get up out of the space that you're in, leave the room if you can, go outside if you can for a second, come back. Is it cleared? Is it still there? How did you feel outside versus inside? If you're really anxious, go outside, walk barefoot if you can, with your feet on the ground to ground. Hug a tree. It sounds so silly. People have talked about for years, but it works. Placing
It
your
sure
hand on the
does.
tree
It sure
is
does.
amazing.
Yeah.
You can be by the ocean. For me, there were years that I was not by the ocean, and now being back by the ocean again, it's just a no-brainer for me. I can
Yeah.
literally get in my car and just drive by and look at the ocean, and my whole demeanor changes. And those are important little things to listen to when it comes to your body and it
Yeah.
comes to your energy. And those are basic, right? Those are all basic small things that you can do to begin to understand your energy
Right.
versus what energy you may be taking on from other people.
Right. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that because a lot of people are not aware of what you just
Mhm.
said. It's those simple things, changing your sheets, like all of that. Yes,
Mhm.
because everything is
Simple.
energy. Yes.
Everything is energy. I mean, you think about this, like the last time, sorry, my nose is itching. Last time you're out at a restaurant or wherever you were, and somebody had been sitting where you were sitting, and you sit down and that seat is still warm. Oh, hell no, I'm not sitting on that seat.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting. I'm waiting for that energy to dissipate and leave. That
Right.
seat is warm because the energy is still there.
Yeah.
It's as simple as even think about anyone who's here who's been in real estate or is in real estate, or you've walked into a room and you're like, ooh, this feels weird. You're
Right.
picking up on energy. It's that simple and that empowering all at the same time.
Wow. Yes. Yes. I'm glad you share that because, as I said, a lot of people are unaware, and these little simple things can help improve your life if you just add it to your life.
Mhm.
So, yes, thank you for sharing that. So the next thing I want to ask you is about your patches. Can we talk about that?
They
Yes.
are a lifesaver for empaths.
Yes.
So I use something called light therapy patches, and I've
Hmm.
been using them for 14 plus years. And yes, a lot of people don't know that. I didn't talk about them for years. I didn't have a podcast for you. I've had a podcast for 3 or 4 years now. So I've always used these in my wellness studios with clients, with family, and particularly on my kitty cats and on myself. And so what it is it's a little patch. Let's see if I think I have one on today. I can show it to you
Okay.
so everyone can see it here.
Oh,
There it
okay.
is. So it's a little teeny patch, and you can see I pulled it off the back of my neck. And
Okay.
so when you place this on your body, how it works is this is 100% non-transdermal. So there's nothing that goes into your bloodstream. There's
Okay.
nothing that goes into your body. When you place this little patch on your body, your infrared light of your body, that's heat, reflects off the patch. The patch reflects your light back into your body, which
Mm.
begins to stimulate peptides, which begins regenerating stem cells and
Mm.
healing your body. So your body is healing itself. It's the reflection, the way that the
Yeah.
waves of light are coming back to you that begins stimulating the skin and regenerating stem cells 100% naturally, non transdermal. There's
Wow.
nothing that comes into your body. And I'm super sensitive. The first half of my life, I was very, very sickly
Hmm.
from a child and all the way up forever, always on drugs, asthma inhalers, you name it.
Right.
And when I found these, it was a game changer.
Right.
From immediately, this patch can reset and regulate your nervous system in under 15 minutes. That's a
What?
game changer for empaths.
It,
It's a
it,
game like everyone should have these on hand at all times.
yes. Is it
Um,
you have to have a prescription for it?
no, no, no. Anyone can go to my website
Okay. Yeah, I'm
and
going to your website because you sold me now because
yeah,
yes, I
you can
definitely.
go to the website and on the website it says body, mind, or spirit on the tabs. And under each of them, it will say light therapy patches. You can click on it. You can read about it, and you can
Mhm.
also sign up for a complimentary chat. And I will be happy to chat about what's going on in your life and how they can help you.
Right.
There really isn't anything that they don't help with because, again, it's about allowing the body to heal itself.
Right.
And it's not, we always say it's not anti aging, it's literally age reversing because within the first 24 hours, we're resetting 3,000 to 4,000 genes. That's
Mhm.
just within the first few hours. Within the first through few months, you're resetting the age of your cardiovascular system. You're
Right.
resetting more genes. You're resetting the collagen in your body. And by the time you're looking at 6 to 12 months, you've reset your cardiovascular system alone 8 plus years. You've
Wow.
decreased your heart, your cardiovascular system, which is so important.
Mhm.
And so to be able to know that you can regulate your nervous system, that you can balance your hormones, because that's something that's very important for both men and women.
Mm.
People
Yes.
always come to me with perimenopause symptoms and menopause symptoms, and I say, well, it's a symptom. Let's get to the root cause of it, because no one realizes is that you don't need to have symptoms going through either stage. Oh, by the way.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so when our hormones are actually imbalanced and our endocrine system and our nervous system is regulated, you don't have that. And that's what these patches allow, amongst so many other things. They really reduce inflammation in the body. And so when we
Wow.
think about inflammation, that's where all dis-ease comes
Mhm.
from.
That's
And
right.
dis-ease in the body at a cellular level comes from emotional aspects that we've had that we've chosen or subconsciously or consciously not to address. And so
Right.
everybody knows this, don't you pretend like you don't know what I'm talking about. When we
Exactly.
push those emotions down, when we stifle it down, it will come out in other ways. 9 times out of 10, it's some sort of IBS, stomach issues, whatever it may be, because that's where a lot of people stuff stuff down, right?
Yeah.
It could be pain in the shoulders. It could be in the hips. Hips is about being afraid to move forward. Low back, financial insecurities. Feet is your foundation. Again, afraid to move forward. And so I always say, and when I'm working with my clients, whether regardless of coaching or patching, we always getting to the root cause. I don't
Right.
believe in labels, right? Just because I
Mhm.
had a label as a child, I had a ton of medical labels. I'm not carrying them through my entire life. And I want someone to know that just because someone stamps that on you, that's not who you are. That's a
Right.
symptom of something that's going on in your body that you have a choice.
That's
Would
right.
you like to address it?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you okay with a band-aid? And either way, that's okay. But you have that choice to decide.
That's
You
right.
don't have to live in pain. You don't have to live with inflammation. And I think, again, that's something that's important for people to hear because, especially on our televisions, it's not like this around the world where there's a pill for everything. But if you really listen and or you look at the fine print, regardless of what that pill may or may not be able to do with you, what else is it now giving you that now you need another pill for and another pill and so it's when we can begin to work and heal our body on its own, because that's what our body can do that. It's
Mhm.
we haven't been educated to understand that. I've brought that for years into my practice, and now I'm shooting it from podcast to podcast because I
Yes.
want to be able to help people all around the world to understand that.
Yes. Well, I'm definitely going to go on your website again
Yeah.
and check that out because I want to try it out. I'm going to read it. I might even call you and get a
Do. I
consultation.
talk with everybody and I walk you through, how, what the process is. Let's keep it easy. I usually, when people are ordering, I do all the first ordering for them, and I'm there to help you through each process. I want you to understand, and I help give you a health tracker. So how are
Yeah.
you feeling today versus when you start?
Mm.
And the cool thing about our company, it's been around we're celebrating 20 years this year actually, is that
Wow.
we have a 30-day money back guarantee. So I always say to someone, you literally have nothing to lose and amazing health to gain.
Yes.
Who doesn't want to at least try? But I
Exactly.
will say this, there are people that don't want to. I have friends that they don't want to try. I respect where you are, and that's okay too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. They have their own mind and they're
hmm
the choice, right? The
Right. It's all
choice to
about
do
choice
whatever. Yes.
because
It's all,
we co-create every moment of every day with the universe. That's powerful.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. But a lot of people aren't aware of that either.
Right.
Right? Right? Right?
So true.
I'm not even gonna go in that
Right.
direction.
That's a whole another podcast of itself.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, it is. So we're about to end the podcast, but I want you to tell the viewers any last words, anything
Mhm,
you want to say, your website. You just talked about the patches, and I
mhm.
just think that's phenomenal because I'm going to check into that myself because I'm an
Yes,
empath. And anything else you want to share, your last words, and that's it.
yes. I would say, we've talked about so much today. We've really gone around all the gamut, but at the end of the day, know that you're here for a reason.
Yes.
Have grace with yourself. The world, we've all been through a lot the last 4 to 5 years, and astrologically speaking, we have a lot more to come. It just is what it is. And it's important to be okay with who you are, with where you are in this moment in time, because as crazy as whatever it is that you may be going through, you are exactly where you are meant to be in this moment in time. And if you can take a step back when you're ready, you will be able to see what is my lesson here and what is my blessing. And when
Right.
you can do that, you are aligning with your true self and you're ready to put one foot in front of the other and move forward.
Yes.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yes. And I would love to continue the conversation. Everyone can head over to jenniferpilates.com. You will see that there are tabs that body, mind, and spirit, and they are just that simple. The body will address any of your workout needs with Pilates down to the light therapy patches. The mind is all about the incredible coaching program where we really take that deep dive to help you transform your life in all areas. And when we get into the spirituality, we are looking at Reiki healing. We're looking at intuitive medium readings, and working with your chakras to really, again, align you body, mind, and spirit.
Right. Yes. Yes. That's what everyone needs to hear because we
Mhm.
cannot no longer just treat the physical body. We have to treat the mind, the body, and the
Mhm.
spirit. Yes.
Yes.
That's
Mhm.
holistically. So thank you for being on the Treasure Is You podcast. Thank you so much. And
Thank you
before,
so much, Sonia. This has been wonderful.
Yes, I it has for me as well. I just love just listening to your wisdom and just talking with you because a lot of things you share today I can relate, and I want people to understand. I want them to at least take that first baby step in the right direction,
Hmm.
help themselves, put themselves first instead of other people, because that's what we've been
Hmm.
taught, right? We've been taught to do that. So
Hmm.
thank you for being on the Treasures You podcast. And as I say to my listeners, remember to be in the present moment and enjoy the steps of your journey. Accept as much as you can of yourself. But last but not least, remember the treasure is you. So take care and namaste.
Hmm.